Welcome to the 30-minute hour. It's the personal development podcast for the seven-figure entrepreneur who's looking to level up and become unstoppable. I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. Joining me as always, you know him as the super CEO, the business strategist extraordinaire, and all-around good guy, Ted Fells.
Happy Monday. Happy
It
Monday.
is indeed for a happy Monday.
Where's the year going?
I'm telling you, the time is just flying. Time flies when you're having fun and you're having great guests like our guest today. And Ted, I feel like we're going to help some people today, right?
Okay.
Because here's the theme, right? Here's the theme: how to know if your marketing sucks.
Ah,
That's
okay.
right. We're going to
That's
help.
pretty. That's pretty. I think that's pretty easy though.
It's easy.
If the
Not
if the if
necessarily.
if, if the if the meter's not moving, it sucks, right? Whatever you're doing is not working. If it's not the meter's not moving.
Maybe a little bit more to that. Then we'll find out from our
Okay.
guest.
Looking
But I
forward.
do think part of what you're saying is true, though. So definitely. But the whole idea is to have marketing that doesn't suck, right? That's the whole thing. So that's really what we're going to spend a lot of time talking about. And Daniel is definitely an expert in this, and he's helped people to get out of their own way when it comes to marketing and do things that get noticed and ring the cash register. So we'll be talking all about that. But this is truly not your everyday podcast. That's right. Daniel, we do things a little differently here in the 30-minute hour. But just from talking to you backstage, I have a feeling you will fit right in, and that won't be an issue at all. But definitely, for those of you at home, you can watch us on the Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube pages by typing in the 30-minute hour in the search bar, and you can go back and listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or any of those places that you like to listen to podcasts. But again, today we're here to talk about how to know if your marketing sucks. And then our guest, again, he's going to help us to answer that question. He is the co creator of the X Factor Effect methodology, where he and his team have helped over 20,000 students and clients grow their businesses. He teaches that different is the new better, and his framework includes 9 pillars for differentiating your business so that you can become a market leader or a category king. He's also the author of his new book, Ideas That Influence. So we'll talk all about that. But please join me in welcoming to the 30-minute hour podcast, Daniel Den.
Let's go. Hey, I'm here with Eric Twiggs and Ted Fells. It can't get better on a Monday night. Let's go.
I'm telling you, that doesn't get any better than that. I'm telling you. All right. So, Daniel, welcome to the show. Truly an honor to have you. Let's give people the backdrop perspective and the backstory. So, how did your journey into the world of marketing begin?
Thank you. And thank you for the introduction, Eric and Ted. And I just want to point something out because I do things differently. So did you guys realize 30-minute hour listeners, because of the simple fact that Eric Twiggs has done over 28,000 coaching sessions, then if he did just one a day, 28,000 times, that's over 77 years of coaching calls. 77 years of coaching calls. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever done that math, Eric, but that is just like mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Ted, have you done that math before?
No, so basically Eric's like 80-some years old.
Exactly. First coaching call was when you were 10, right, Eric?
Actually, it was age 8.
Oh, really? Nice. That's a story. I have not heard that one. First coaching call was with an 8. Tell me, like, really quick, like, before I tell because we've helped over 20,000 students and clients. So we like, this is super impressive. But some people, sometimes they don't realize the magnitude of like how impressive what Eric and guys like Ted have done.
Yeah. So, and it's a funny thing you said, I mean, the 28,000 coaching sessions is a conservative number. Literally just years of 15 a day, 10 a day, 12 a day, back to back to back to back to back. So it adds up over time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
first one with 8, like who were you coaching at age 8? That's crazy.
So you say one a day since.
Oh, well, I point this out because so sometimes like we have this massive impact, like with the What Now movement, and with what I've done with Pedro down in Brazil. This is why I brought it up first. There was a point. I'm not just trying to put you guys on the spot and talk about how amazing the two of you are, even though you both are extremely amazing. But sometimes we see the end result and we have this massive impact, like what you and Ted have been able to do with the What Now movement and with all of your coaching calls. And we're like, wow, like this is like unattainable. Sometimes we think this is unattainable. Like, how do we get to that point? Well, the answer, it's called leverage. Okay. We're all blessed. In 2024, we have tools at our disposal that we did not have access to back when, like, I was in elementary school. Okay. So I'm 41 now. And in elementary school, we finally, in 6th grade, we finally got computers with the internet. And it was like, what the heck? Like, this is like absolutely brand new. And then by 9th grade, I finally had the internet in the home. And all of this technology in 2024, it's compounded. And year after year after year, we've been given access to more and more leverage. Now, I've been able, in my adult life, as one of the oldest millennials, 41 years of age, I was born in 1982, as one of the oldest millennials, I saw the power of this leverage, these tools that we were able to access, and partially because I wasn't given these tools in high school, right? And so I saw the power of these tools. And about 12 years ago, I had an opportunity with my business partner, Pedro, and we saw this blue ocean opportunity where down in Brazil, we had the chance to help a lot of people. And what we both noticed was he with his marketing agency and me with everything I had started to already do with internet marketing, with all the leverage we had started to get excited about and that we started to use in our own businesses and for a few clients, we realized that there was knowledge that needed to be shared. And we created this methodology that we started first teaching down in Brazil. And we used the leverage of the internet and the leverage of social media to grow a massive following of over 2 million people across social media. And the premises of everything that we teach is what we call the X factor effect. It's all about breaking through the noise in your market by being different. And being different with you inside your business, with your products and services, with your marketing as well. And when you stack those differences on top of the leverage that we've been given access to over the past years and now in 2024, and if you have the right messaging, right marketing messaging aligned with all of that, then you're able to grow like wildfire, just like the What Now movement and just like our movement with the X factor effect methodology. Our way of doing it was, like I said, all about being different, which was a really big need down in Brazil, but it's also a really big need across the world. And now we're taking our methodology worldwide. And then it's a massive need in 2024 because there's a lot, even though we're blessed with this leverage, we are also burdened by overwhelming competition. We are burdened by everybody and their dog having a voice. And when I say everybody and their dog having a voice, we're talking about dogs and cats. You have cats with social media accounts, dogs with social media accounts, and all the humans. And so the question is, how do we break through the noise? And we've had the privilege of helping people over the past 12 years break through the noise amongst this massive competition.
I just think that that's the critical key is how do you differentiate yourself? Because now the barrier to entry for everything is low, right? Like there was a time if you said you were, I don't know, a motivational speaker, that you actually had to be a good speaker and you had to, where now anybody could go print that on their business card. Everybody's a motivational speaker. Yeah. And so, I mean, what are some things that the people listening to us can do to differentiate themselves and separate themselves from all their competition?
Well, let's start with some of the obvious ones, because I was listening to some of your episodes. One of, and it's not too obvious, so partially obvious. So we have some really like high level strategic ways to differentiate, and then we have like more basic ways. One of the most basic ways, you guys mentioned it a few episodes back, right here on the 30-minute hour. You guys were talking about being different by just being yourself. So you, as the attractive character inside of your business, you are the differentiator. Okay. You can be one of those big differences. So when it comes to the 9 pillars, and we call this following the celebrity code. So you following the celebrity code, giving a face to your brand and becoming the expert, the authority, or the celebrity inside of your business that gives a face to your brand. That is one way to differentiate yourself. And technically, it is uncopyable, because I can never be Ted Fells, and I can never be Eric Twiggs, and I can never be Alex Hormozi. And the problem is people keep trying every single day to be Eric, Ted, or Alex Hormozi. And you can't do it. It's impossible. So the question is, if I am one of my most unique differences inside of my business, how do I show that to my dream customers? It's by following first the celebrity code and showing how your unique personal stories and experiences are differentiated from the rest of the competition. And then I run into issues, Ted and Eric, where people say, well, I don't want to be the face. I don't want to be this big expert, this authority, celebrity. Technically, you're making your life harder for not just manning up or womaning up and being that attractive character inside of the business. But if you absolutely can't do it, then that's okay. If it's absolutely not you to be the expert, authority, or celebrity inside of your business, it's okay, because there are 8 other ways. Yep, there we go. I was like, do I have 8 fingers up? But there are 8 other ways that we can do it. So for example, I tell people, because I get a lot of people that are saying, I just can't be that person on social media that's, just talking about my business all day. I'm too insecure, or it's just not me, whatever it is. One of the things you can do, I call it kind of following the Steve Jobs effect. You can actually make your products or services the star of your business that has to do with your USPs. For example, lots of people didn't really know who Steve Jobs was until he launched the iPhone. And then because the iPhone became this massive success, then people knew who Steve Jobs was. So sometimes we can launch a product or service or some type of experience inside of our business where it is so unique and different and desirable to our dream customers that product or service, it becomes kind of like the star and like the face of a business. And then as a result, it elevates you as well. And a simple example of this is if the What Now movement is bigger than Eric Twiggs or Ted Fells, then technically their movement has become a star of the business and has outpaced them as a face of the business. So there are ways to get around the fact that you don't have to follow that specific pillar of the X factor effect if you don't feel comfortable doing so.
This is interesting. So you're talking about like the celebrity code. You talked about you making your product the star. What are your thoughts? This just came to me as far as using vulnerability as a differentiator. It just seems like if you're on social media, anybody that's got a business or what have you, they're always just putting this thing out of everything is great, everything's fine. I've got the Ferrari, I've got the Lambo. But I think really just being authentic and to me, when I see people that come across as very transparent, it stands out to me, and it really grabs my attention. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, we definitely encourage that. The authenticity in 2024 is a must, because we're all starting to see the trends that the days of the inauthentic influencer are super numbered.
Yeah.
And the days of an inauthentic influencer who's just trying to front does not have the credibility and influence necessary in order to sell products or services. There's a really cool phrase that we say that you want to be celebrated in your niche market, not tolerated. Celebrated, not tolerated. Now, a perfect example of celebrated, not tolerated would be the lawyer who has a personal connection with his clients, who shares those authentic stories on social media, and who really understands his dream customers, and who is a kind, if you can imagine a kind lawyer, a kind, caring, empathetic lawyer that absolutely loves working with the clients and loves helping the clients that he's working with, and he's portraying that on social media. He would be a celebrated lawyer in my book. He would be the type of lawyer I would want to hire. But on the flip side, what would be a tolerated lawyer? Well, those lawyers where every single time you do watch something on the television, if that happens maybe because we're watching television less and less, but the once a week that you turn on the television, oh, there's his ad again. And then every single time you drive down the freeway, there's his billboard again. There's his billboard. He will fight for you. He will fight for you. And his face is everywhere. And nobody really has a personal connection with this face, but we just keep seeing his face everywhere. And we know he keeps saying he's going to fight for us, but there's no real connection happening. So we tolerate it. It's part of the noise. His ads are part of the noise. And there's no doubt he has a level of success, but he is not celebrated. He is tolerated. So one question I like to ask people when it comes to the question of authenticity is, are you being celebrated in your niche market, or are you being tolerated? Are your ads falling into the realm of they're being tolerated, or are you actually growing a following, growing a movement like the What Now movement, and being celebrated rather than tolerated?
So I would think, so if you're being tolerated, you're probably just doing a lot of the things that everybody else is doing.
Yeah, you're getting caught up in the sea of sameness for sure. You're being caught up in the noise. You're part of just what's out there. You're part of those. There's a Forbes article that says we're all exposed to between about 4,000 and 10,000 ads or marketing pieces or things vying for our attention every single day. 4,000 to 10,000. That's insane. And so if you're part of that 4,000 to 10,000 that was forgotten yesterday, then you're just part of the noise. But if you're those one or two or three things that broke through the noise that were memorable, that were impactful, then you start to become part of what's being celebrated rather than tolerated.
Okay. So, and so the theme of our episode we mentioned earlier, how to know if your marketing sucks. So what are some indications that I think we've talked about a lot of this already, but what are some indications that somebody may have marketing that sucks? And what else, using the X factor effect methodology, can we do to have better marketing?
Yeah. So that's a strong word. Marketing that sucks. I mean, we all know when marketing doesn't resonate with us, it's tuned out, it's easily tuned out, and it's part of the same. The question then turns to, well, since we're all exposed to too much, we're all overwhelmed with information, then what does break through the noise? So one of the things that we talk about in Ideas That Influence, Ideas That Influence, is and it's also something that we have to talk about when we're talking about the X factor effect in general. We always have to start with the avatar, right? So I know, listener, I know on the 30-minute hour, how many times have we talked about you have to start with the avatar and you have to understand your dream customers, but it is inevitable. Okay. You have to start there when it comes to your marketing message or your business in general. If you don't start with avatar first, putting your customers' wants and needs center stage, making their wants, needs, and desires the star of everything that you're talking about, making it all about them. If you don't start with that, then we can't continue the conversation. The conversation is dead in the water. Eric, you and I, we were talking about good clients, right? Good clients. The best clients do what? They listen to the coach. They do what the coach says. They take massive action. Okay. If you have a client, Eric, and if you have a client, Ted, and you say, first, we have to study the avatar. We have to get in the minds of the dream customer. And if they skip that step, what's next? What now? Right? Where do you go from there if they skip that step? Thoughts?
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. We've talked about this on previous shows as far as really identifying like who your target person is. I think that just from business owners I've been around, that's a struggle for a lot of people, really knowing who their specific person is.
Yeah.
I'm curious to get your thoughts. Like I've been like at masterminds with fairly successful business people. And when they had to describe their target customers, literally they're stammering and stuttering all over themselves.
Right.
Like, why is that so hard for people to really get clear on, okay, this is the person, this is their demographics, this is their spending habit? I mean, I welcome your thoughts on that.
Well, I was actually just talking to my sister today. She finally, she is a tennis coach, and she finally, after years of trying to break through the noise on social media as a tennis coach, she finally has a product, an info product as a tennis coach that people like. Okay. Like it's making sales. She can run ads and profitably sell her tennis coach. And it's called Skip Fit. And it teaches people how to better their tennis game while also bettering their footwork and their overall health and agility all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And like the belief behind the product is you're never going to improve your game if you can't improve the agility. Like it starts there. People adopt the belief. Okay, what I'm missing in my game is the agility aspect. And then it's not like all of the other tennis courses online that you would buy. It's differentiated. That's her USP, her unique selling proposition. So she's got this, and she's sold about 300 copies of her course so far, which is absolutely incredible. Especially for the fact that she's only been running ads for like 5 months. So really good. Like this is exciting. And so she starts, like she wants to build out the funnel. She wants to do, the value ladder, like what's next, group coaching or whatever. She's got all these ideas. And I say that the answer's simple. You finally, after all these years of trying, you finally have clients. We have to ask. We have to ask the clients. It's all about the ask campaigns. And so she's in the process of reaching out and DMing people one by one and sending as many emails as she can and having conversations with her current customers so that she can really understand, first of all, why did you even buy this first course? And second, what are you looking for next? And when it comes to lots of people in high-level masterminds, Eric and Ted, that you guys have participated in, that are missing this point about the avatar, I think it comes down to the simple fact that they haven't done as many ask campaigns as they should with their customers. They just aren't having enough conversations with their customers. Because when I talk to my customers, it becomes really clear really fast what I should be selling next. And the conversations and the messaging for those conversations and the messaging for my marketing also becomes very clear because I'm having those conversations.
It's interesting. I still want to get your thoughts on this. I heard a quote from Rory Vaden, and he said that you're most equipped to serve the person you used to be.
Yep.
I find that to be true when you're thinking about, who should I target? If you put yourself back in that situation and some of your pain points and your challenges, I think that can help you to get clear on who your target person is.
It's challenging. The business that I'm in is, government contracting for IT services. And from time to time you hear a customer say, what differentiates you? Right. And oftentimes, to be honest, I think they just ask that question because it's just one of those questions just to throw out there. I don't think they let me see what he says to this. Not that this is going to make a difference on whether they're going to buy it from you. And I just want to see what you say in that. And in a business that's really, a people business, right? Like, you know what you want. Like, you want people with certain levels of experience and certifications. And I mean, what the market is like in this area, right? I mean, you have a lot of these people already working, supporting your organizations now, and you're like, okay, well, what am I gonna, what differentiates the people that I'm gonna bring? I mean, what my people are gonna be taller, right? I'm bringing all my certified people 6'5" and above. I mean, you know what I'm saying? What
That's
is
different.
it you? Yeah, and all of them are, I don't know, all of them are they're all from Detroit. I mean, I don't know, right? But you're just, you get these questions and it's just like, okay, is that question really gonna move, the needle versus, you're a hamburger joint, right? And you're like, yeah, we use organic beef or something, you know what I'm saying? We have the multigrain bun or whatever. We use a lettuce bun, right? Like, I mean, there's some things like that you can do, but I just think sometimes with the people business, it gets to be a little tricky sometimes in that area.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that I started with my own personal sales processes that have shown people indirectly during the sales conversation how we differentiate is it's very hard to classify the way I sell as selling, because my goal ends up becoming to give you, Ted, and you, Eric, an aha moment where inside of that aha moment, it's very clear that people in the industry do things one way. And we do things in a completely different way. And through that aha moment, I'm showing people that it's because we do things differently that we're getting results. So I switch when it comes to showing my differentiators throughout a sales process. I want as many light bulb moments going off in their head as possible. And so, if, for example, in the IT services with these government contracts, if anybody has ever run into an issue with somebody who they contracted with where they had, I don't know, a hack or some downtime or whatever it is, and it's something that you easily avoid, then I'm pointing that out that so this is a very common mistake that people make in the industry. And if you haven't ever heard of this issue, then this is an aha moment because 90% of the people that you work with, they don't know that this is going to cause this domino effect. That could potentially cause a hack or downtime. There's a really cool in the IT industry, one of my favorite commercials of all time that clearly talks about this. And I forget the name of the commercial, but I believe it's Hewlett Packard, and they talk about their printers, and they talk about in this video, and they tell a story about how this company got hacked through the printers. And then they talk about how by the end, yes, our Hewlett Packard, our printers, they're more expensive, but they're not as expensive as this $100 million mistake that caused the downfall of a company because the printers were the gateway for being hacked. I don't know if that commercial rings about. I wish I could remember the name of the commercial, but the whole commercial, it's like a 3-minute commercial, and it gives this big aha moment. What's the aha moment? The aha moment, Ted, is that these hacks can happen through a printer that's not secured. And so sometimes there's these things that you do in your side and throughout your process that take care of these holes that cause all of these issues that aren't seen. And that's where you start to really uncover multiple differences that make a difference with the services that you provide. Because if it's one aha moment and then I'm offering 4 or 5 more, then I start to stack all of these differences that make a difference on top of one another. And then by the end of the sales conversation, you become such a unique animal where it starts to become undeniable, the value that you provide, Ted, and it starts to become undeniable that they would want to do business with you because they start to worry that there's 90% of the companies out there that aren't doing these 5 things that you easily take care of.
Okay.
That's interesting. I think about there's another company years ago had this commercial, and their approach was that there's all these techno buzzwords, right? And then they didn't use them, right? They just spoke to you in regular language. Like, oh yeah, there's other people, they're talking about these legacy applications. And well, what's that? We're just going to say they're old, and we're going to, help you to bring them up. Like everything was basically like played off of that because, and I think that probably really helped them because people knew them as the people that just gave them straight talk and not a whole bunch of, techno geekism stuff that, people don't understand, but they don't want to say they don't understand. They shake their head like, oh yeah, we understand it. We understand it. But that was their thing. And I think that was a differentiator for them. Their commercials, their materials, their website, everything really played off of the fact that they, made it really clear to the common everyday person.
Yeah, you almost want to do like a SWOT analysis on your competition, right? Yeah, we're all familiar with the whole SWOT idea. What's strengths, what's your weaknesses, what's your opportunities, what's your threats. You almost want to do that on your competition. And if you know them to that degree, I think it'll help you'll be in a easier position to be able to say, okay, this is what makes us different. And and I love what you were talking about as far as the stories, and start telling these stories of, the wow moments that separate you from your competition.
Yeah. Yeah. I was trying to look up that Hewlett Packard commercial. I did confirm that it was Hewlett Packard, and I had it in my notes, and I clicked on the video, and the video is unavailable. So I was like, I'm gonna figure out the name. But yeah, lots of people, they like have a script, and you can have a script, but when that script talks about the real problems that nobody else inside of the business is talking about, inside of the industry that nobody's talking about, then it makes all the difference. Now, we did this with the X Factor effect methodology, and without a doubt, you guys did this as well with the What Now movement. But what we did was we basically said, hey, the reason why your business might go out of business within the next 5 years, it's because you're caught up in the sea of sameness. It's because the average of the businesses in your industry, they go out of business within 5 years. And the route to market leadership is to be different. And so that's the belief that our differentiator, for lack of a better explanation, was being different, right? The way we're different is by teaching you how to be different. And because there's lots of ways to grow a business, but we talk about the root cause being, hey, you're caught up in the sea of sameness. And when we sold that belief that the reason why you're not breaking through the noise, the reason why you're not a market leader, it's because you are a follower. You are copying what everybody else is doing. You're running similar ads to everybody else. And as a result, you look like everybody else. And everybody, unfortunately, goes out of business if you're the average within 5 years. And so to avoid that, you have to do things differently. And then we would take things a bit further, and we would talk about studies where when I talk about being different, for example, in your marketing, the natural reaction is what? That being different is risky. No, let's not do things differently. Let's do what works. So we would go even deeper and say, okay, if you think that being different is the risky approach, then take a look at this study. And then we would cite a study where on average, the businesses who started to do their marketing differently, they on average eat up 6 times as much market share because they're doing things creatively, because they're doing things differently. On average, they eat up 6 times more market share, which means what? If you do more of the same, if you let yourself get caught up in that sea of sameness, then you're missing out on 6x your potential. So that doesn't mean that every single time you're going to do something different that you're going to break through the noise. It just means on average, doing something different is going to get you about 6 times more market share.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Because you have to, customers are just suffering through just so many choices.
Yeah.
And it all looks the same. So if you could stand out, you really make it easier for the customer. And I wasn't aware of that study. That's definitely something good to point out. So I'm curious as far as your book. Let's talk about the book, Ideas That Influence. So what are the readers going to get from reading your book?
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, I sent you one, Eric. You got it, right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
All right. So the book, Ideas That Influence. So there's 7 main elements. This specifically, Ideas That Influence, it talks about wildly successful marketing messages that break through the noise. There's 7 specific elements that we've pinpointed. If you can include all 7 of these elements inside of your marketing message in some way, shape, or form, we've never seen a marketing message that had all 7 elements not break through the noise. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen, but we've never seen it. If you have all 7 of these elements, you're going to break through the noise. We've already talked about a couple of them today on the 30-minute hour. One of them is you need to have an X factor. You need to have a USP, unique selling proposition, something that's different, a difference that makes a difference. So have an X factor. Okay, we already talked about that. We talked about sharing stories. The best marketing messages share a story. Okay. We talked about putting your audience center stage. Make sure you put your audience center stage. Make it all about them. So we covered those 3. We actually also talked about a 4th element, when you can provide an aha moment. It's so powerful because people start to form new beliefs. An aha moment is like a mini paradigm shift, right? You start to see the world differently. That aha moment, it's like, oh, now I've connected 2 points that I didn't understand previously. It's super powerful and it's memorable. Aha moments are memorable. So after that sales conversation, Ted, when you've dropped all these aha moments, and if they are considering going with you or somebody else, then what's going to stick in their mind is all those aha moments and all those differences that you talked about. And it's really hard for them to not decide to go with you when you're the different person and everybody else is the same, right? So those are 4 of the elements four of the 7. There's 3 more elements that we talk about in the book. If you want, I can cover them really quickly, Eric and Ted, since we've already talked about 4. It's really easy to talk about 3 more because if you hit all 3, if you hit all 7, this next one is a big one. Having your marketing message focused on a single concept or idea. So we as business owners and marketers, we have too many things to talk about when it comes to our niche. We are experts. We love talking about all the different ways we can help people. The problem is, and if any of you that are listening are fans of Perry Belcher, he summed this up brilliantly. A long time ago, I got a course by Perry Belcher, and he said in the course basically the following. One of the biggest mistakes people do in marketing is they introduce a second big idea or concept. And when they introduce a second big idea or concept, they think that it's going to help them sell more. The problem is they sell less. In fact, they usually cut their sales in half by talking about a second big idea or concept. Now, the reason logistically why this happens in 2024 is pretty straightforward. So we're all exposed to about 4,000 to 10,000 things per day, marketing pieces, ads, etc. If I try to talk about 2 big things, it's really easy to tune out because you only have enough random access memory in your brain in 2024 to focus on one big thing that I'm talking about. So, outside of our messaging, we always want to just talk about one big focused concept or idea. A great example I like to share of this for this is if I was selling a meal plan, and let's pretend like my meal plan is paleo and it's high protein and it's low carb and it's low calorie. So it's all 4 of those things. Now, if I shout from the rooftop all 4 of those things and try to sell you on all 4 of those benefits, then that's a lot to talk about. The benefits of paleo, that's a whole category by itself. The benefits of high protein, same thing. That's a big concept. The concept of low carb, same thing. Like we could talk about low carb for hours. And low calorie, well, that's kind of a little bit intuitive, but you get the idea. Also a big idea or concept. So if my meal plan is paleo and high protein and low carb and low calorie, that's okay. The problem is if my marketing message tries to talk about all 4 of those big ideas at the same time. Instead, we want to pick one, okay? Are we going to, raise the flag for paleo today in our marketing campaign. If it's paleo, let's go all in on paleo and let's sell paleo. If it's high protein, let's go all in on high protein. Let's talk about let's try to get people to adopt one big idea. Okay. Oh, it needs to be high protein. Great. Hey, we got this meal plan. It's high protein. Oh, by the way, it's also paleo and low carb, but high protein. High protein. That's the main message, right? So focused. So that's our fifth element. The other two is evoking emotion. So this is probably the biggest mistake that I see in ads in 2024. There's too many that lack emotion. And it's really easy to see when you notice what goes viral and what doesn't. Stuff that goes viral has emotion. Okay? Show me something that's gone viral that doesn't evoke emotion. and you win the prize of the day. I've never seen it. Things that go viral evoke emotion, and usually they evoke a lot of emotion, right? And then the last element of the 7 is sticky and shareable. So we want things to be sticky and shareable. We want them to stick in people's minds. We want them to be memorable, and we want them to be shareable at the same time. So sticky and shareable. So those are the 7 elements. Summing up, we want it to be focused on a big concept or idea. We want to put our audience center stage. We want to have an X factor, something that differentiates us. We want to evoke emotion. We want to share stories or share a story. We want our message to be sticky and shareable. And we want to provide those aha moments. Those are the 7 big elements that we cover inside of Ideas That Influence. Plenty of examples for all of those. And we encourage people to include all of those in their marketing message. And we show you how so that you can have those wildly successful marketing ideas that finally break through the noise.
That's fantastic. People need to just go out and get that book, Ideas That Influence. You need to get that book immediately. It'll really help you to break through that noise. So we're now coming to the final segment. This has been a fantastic episode. He's left us with 7 specific ideas to really improve the marketing and not be in a position where your marketing sucks. We're at the final segment, Daniel. We call this Write This Down. This is, by the way, Ted's favorite part of the show, by the way.
This is the
Write this down. That's right.
The sticky aha moment, shareable, memorable part of the show.
Exactly.
This is why people love the 30-minute an hour. It's this part right here. Right?
There you go.
Right? This is the X factor. This is the what makes you different, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think we are the only podcast on the planet that does write this down at the end of the episode.
There you go.
Unless someone has done it after they heard us, but we
were first.
We were first. Copycat, and that yeah.
Right. So write this down. So we each going to talk about at least one idea from today's episode that the people can write down so they can level up. Daniel, you're the guest of honor. What do the people need to write down from today?
Different is the new better. Now, I've heard you say, Eric, different is better than better, which is a very similar phrase, which I heard after we started telling people, hey, different is the new better. So it's just undeniable. So in 2024, you have to be different in some way. And it got to the point where quality stopped being a differentiator inside of pretty much all niche markets. And what we noticed was when people started saying things were better, they would start listing off all the ways that Ted or Eric and your businesses are different. So they would list off all. And so what they were saying was better equals different. And so we realized, oh, different in 2024, it's all about being different. Different is the new way of being better. What people mean when they say something is better is, hey, I like it because it's different because of all of these ways that it's different. So different is the new better.
Write that down. Different is the new better. Excellent. All right. Thank you. Ted?
Follow that. Because I think everything that was discussed today really was about differentiating, right? Like how do you really stand out, amongst the crowd and selling your services or product. And it's not an easy thing to do, but I mean, Daniel, you just broke down, just so many different things, because as you were talking about, I guess a couple minutes ago, like these 5 things, and you got to focus on one of the things. I was like, man, on protein, calories, paleo, like it all sounded like something, to focus on. I'm just gonna say, hey, it has all those things, but it's good. Like this is going to be a meal plan that you're going to enjoy, and I guess that would have been kind of my take on something like that, because everything just sounds so, important. Each of those features sounds important, but just finding out, what is going to be that thing to focus on, that's tough.
Yeah.
I think it's tough because, I mean, when you're a business, you think all of it's great.
Yep, we sure do.
like all my stuff is great. Everything is great. Everything we do is great. We got great
Exactly.
people, great solutions. They're all over 6'5". I mean, everything is is great, unless you're that business that just says we're selling burgers and that's it. Like, we don't do fries, we just do burgers, and we just sell the best burgers out here. You go get your fries someplace else. We got a great burger here. I mean,
Yeah, that's what In-N-Out did.
Yeah, if it's not something like that, it's really tough, because we think everything we have is good. But
yeah, and I should clarify to help everybody, in case they're like, well, like I've got all these really cool things. So we're talking about launching one successful marketing campaign that breaks through the noise, right? Now, Apple is a great example of, hey, they'll run like commercials for like, the newest iPhone. They'll run them for like a few months. If you pay close attention, it's rare to see Apple also running ads for like the newest version of the iPad or the newest iWatch or any new product. They'll usually save that, and then they'll like hit it big for a few months on the newest product, right? Whatever that is. So they'll kind of tone down part of their campaigns to put focus on others, so that they're kind of putting out one big message at the same time. So the point is, I'm going to put out one big focused message that breaks through the noise today, but it's okay that a few months from now, I'm running a different
something else
campaign with a big idea for my business, even if it's a big idea that points back to the same product, right? So for example, iPhone would run ads for the iPhone for a while, and then they would run this big, long, 3, 4, 5 month campaign. This is back when they first launched the iPhone. But then they would run campaigns for the App Store. Well, you get the App Store for free with the iPhone, but the campaign was all about the App Store. There's an app for that. If you ever remember the commercials, there's an app for that. And it was focused, amazing marketing. There's an app for that. There's an app for that. There's an app for that, only on the iPhone, right? And they focused on, there's an app for that. So that's how we kind of like differentiate that in people's minds, because sometimes people get confused. They're like, you're telling me to only talk about one thing? I've got like 50 things to talk about.
That's right.
It's okay. Right. Just do one at a time.
No, great point. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my contribution to write this down is, I'm just going to go back to what you said, that, evoking emotion, how important that is to differentiation. And I was just kind of thinking back to the videos and things that I've seen that have just gone viral, that have gotten millions of views and all of that. You're 100% correct. They all, one way or another, they evoked an emotion. They made you laugh. They made you cry. They made you say, "Oh, wow, that's so cute." But they evoked an emotion.
Or they made you angry.
Right. Right.
They made you angry.
Right.
Or it's done by someone you just really love.
Mm-hmm.
right? Because sometimes that's the case, right? Some people, no matter what they do, you got Kim Kardashian, she just steps out the house, and you got
Yeah.
a trillion views from that because of it's
Yeah.
it's that person, not necessarily what they did. I'm like, we could step out the house all day and video it and upload it. Nobody cares if we step out the house,
Yeah.
right? So
Kanye West Super Bowl commercial is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, it's so simple." Dude, if I did Kanye West's Super Bowl commercial, I would have lost however, I mean, how much did he pay for the spot? Like 5 million or something. I would have just lost 5 million.
that's
The
right.
reason why that worked for Kanye was because he's Kanye
That is
West.
Kanye.
That's the
That's it.
only reason why it worked. And
Yep.
people think,
That's
that was different. Okay, yeah, okay. I can't argue with that. But
It wasn't that much. It wasn't that different.
yeah,
Right.
but the main reason why it worked is because it was simple and mainly it was Kanye. That was the
Yeah.
reason why it worked. So
Yeah. Wow.
Like I've seen something else I've seen is like a business owner will do like a photo or video just with the business owner talking about the business, and he'll do that same ad and have a dog. And the ad with the dog will outperform the other one by 3 or 4 times consistently. The only thing that's changed, they put the dog right there.
yeah.
Why? It goes back to what you said. It evokes that emotion. People have dogs. They love their dogs, and it's just something as simple as that. So I think that's just something great to think about. Because I'm always like, how is this video getting millions of views? But it goes
Sometimes it's
back
about
to
the who, and sometimes it's about
Yeah.
something else. Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes
Absolutely.
it's one sticky element.
Yep.
It was different, but there's always a reason.
No, absolutely.
If there's ever a doubt, like there is a reason why that whatever it is got millions of views, and they usually fall within these 7 elements.
Right.
That's interesting. Again, when you look at like let's say on Instagram and those content creators that do something really crazy, like they do everything like that. Like it's always like that's your thing to do something really crazy, and they just they got to keep doing it. Like they can't just come back and just be like, yeah, I'm having dinner with friends now. No. You got to do something crazy. You got to jump off the steps or something. You got to do something crazy because that's what you do.
They can do something simple once, like Mr. Beast. He could get away with a few videos where he's doing something simple for a few videos, but eventually people are going to be like, Mr. Beast.
Right, that's right.
There's a reason why I'm watching your videos. Like,
that's right.
I'm ready to see the next crazy thing.
The next crazy. That's right.
Exactly.
Definitely.
All right. So Daniel, how can the people connect with you?
Yeah. So the funnest way in 2024 to connect with me is if you go to bigideasbox.com, then it's free, the book, free plus shipping, where you get the box experience. So this is the first free plus shipping box experience on the planet. I did something different. What? How did I do? I did something different. Yes. Lots of people do a free plus shipping book. I'm the first one to do a free plus shipping interactive book box experience. So you get the book and you get the entire box experience. There's 5 experience envelopes that come with the book. And you just pay shipping and handling. I ship the whole thing out to you for free. So bigideasbox.com. That's my favorite way to get in contact with me, because for me to send you out this amazing gift in the mail, free plus shipping. And then I'm on social. So usually at Daniel Den Official on social media.
All right. Fantastic. Cool. And I noticed you just basically put one thing out there that you're practicing what you preach, right?
Yeah. I try to stick to one call to action, because if I give you 2 calls to action, then usually I'm going to cut my conversion rate in half. According to Perry Belcher, which we all have to respect Uncle Perry, right? So
makes sense.
Yeah, it is just amazing, like the episodes that we do with you know, outstanding marketing people like yourself tend to do well. And I think it's because they market the show and they actually practice what they preach, and it works. It's proven. So this has been a great episode. For those of you watching and listening, don't forget to share the show.
Share the show.
Right. Don't just keep this
Share the
great
show.
information to yourself. Share the show with somebody that can use the message. We talked about how to know if your marketing sucks. We talked about how to overcome sucky marketing and make it much better, and how to differentiate yourself. But a fantastic episode. That's our time for this week on the 30-Minute Hour podcast. Don't forget, you can go back and listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any of those other places. Until next time, have a great one.